Hello, welcome to the very first episode of the Grappling Gameplan. I am your host, Christopher Boggs Jr. The goal of the Grappling Gameplan is to present you with the latest rumors and facts in the pro wrestling business from around the world, not just WWE and TNA, as well as provide you with new information about the sport we love. No opinions, just information. We have enough opinion shows. Let's get into it. First story of the day. X-Division wrestler Zema Ion underwent an emergency appendectomy on Friday. Doctors also located a tumor in his colon that will need removal at a later date. Zema Ion, real name Michael Pearce, does not have insurance. Zema Ion's girlfriend has set up a fundraiser on GiveForward.com to help pay for his medical bills. The goal is to raise $30,000 in the next 92 days. At the time of this video, $3,753 was raised. For those interested in donating to help out Zema Ion, the link will be in the description below. 7 NXT wrestlers were released from developmental yesterday. For starters, Sakamoto and Bradley Pierce. Their last match was on the latest episode of NXT, where both were squashed in a handicap match against the Ascension, Conor O'Brien. Many may remember Sakamoto and Tensai's follower in 2012. 7 NXT wrestlers were released from developmental on Friday. For starters, Sakamoto and Bradley Pierce. Their last match was on the latest episode of NXT, where both were squashed in a handicap match against the Ascension, Conor O'Brien. Many may remember Sakamoto as Tensai's follower in 2012, who was constantly abused by Tensai whenever he would lose. Bradley Pierce is the brother of World Heavyweight Champion Dolph Ziggler. Other names are Derek Bateman and Showtime Percy Watson from NXT Redemption, who some thought had a chance at a main roster spot eventually. Brandon Taven, WWE Diva Audrey Marie, and Diva Anya, a 6'1" Russian kickboxer who had been sidelined with a broken arm. Hopefully they all find work quickly. 7 NXT wrestlers were released from developmental on Friday, May 16, 2013. For starters, Sakamoto and Bradley Pierce. Their last match was on the latest episode of NXT, where both were squashed in a handicap match against the Ascension, Conor O'Brien. Many may remember Sakamoto as Tensai's follower in 2012. Tensai would constantly abuse Sakamoto whenever he would lose. Other names are Derek Bateman and Showtime Percy Watson, both from NXT Redemption, who, as some have thought, had a chance at a main roster spot eventually. There was also Brandon Taven, WWE Diva Audrey Marie, and Diva Anya, a 6'1" Russian kickboxer who had been sidelined with a broken arm. Hopefully they find work quickly. TMZ.com reports that Austin Aries was severely fined by TNA and privately apologized to Christy Hemme for an unscripted crotch thrust on Impact this past Thursday. The report says Hemme has accepted Austin Aries' apology and is satisfied. Ring of Honor World Champion Jay Briscoe issued an on-air apology over his violent homophobic remarks. On Twitter, Jay Briscoe threatened to, quote, shoot anybody who tried to teach their kid about homosexuality. This was in relation to a bill passed in Delaware Senate that legalized same-sex marriage. Jay Briscoe has agreed to donate his next 2 paychecks towards Partners Against Hate, a group created to prevent, deter, and reduce juvenile hate-related behavior. The main event of Slammiversary 11 is set, with World Heavyweight Champion and President of Aces and Eights, Bully Ray, set to face off against the Icon Sting. A stipulation was added that if Sting loses, he can no longer wrestle for the TNA World Heavyweight title. Slammiversary 11 takes place on June 2nd, 2013. Dixie Carter is open to a crossover event between TNA and WWE. TNA has cross-promoted with AAA in Mexico on their Triple Mania show in New Jersey Pro Wrestling. Dixie Carter is open to a crossover event between TNA and WWE. TNA has cross-promoted with AAA in Mexico on their Triple Mania show and New Japan Pro Wrestling on their January 4th Dome show. However, Dixie Carter admits that there is little chance of cross-promoting with WWE, as long as she knows. Jake the Snake Roberts says in an interview with Fox Sports South that he will compete in the 2014 Royal Rumble. Roberts has been living with Diamond Dallas Page at his accountability crib in efforts to make a comeback. He has since lost 50 pounds and kicked his drug habits since teaming with DDP. Best of luck to Jake the Snake Roberts. The Great Khali's manager, Amit Swami, was arrested on Friday for allegedly attacking a shopkeeper in Rewari, India. Swami claims that he was settling a domestic dispute as requested by the shopkeeper's family. The Great Khali has yet to comment. There has been a lot of new wrestling video game news this week. Take-Two has announced that WWE 2K14 will be out on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 on October 23, 2013. This year's cover superstar will be The Rock. This will be the first game of the new 5-year deal between Take-Two and WWE. TNA is shopping the market for possibly creating a new video game. The last video game for TNA was TNA Wrestling Impact, released on iOS and Android in 2011. Lastly, on the video game front, indie developer Serious Parody has released his first Q&A on his wrestling game, 5 Star Wrestling. Developers say that the game closely resembles WCW vs. NWO World Tour, a game that came out in 1997. For those curious about the Q&A section or just learning more about the game in general, the link is in the description box below. Lastly, Sunday is WWE's Extreme Rules. Currently, the card is The Miz vs. Cody Rhodes on the pre-show, Sheamus vs. Mark Henry in a strap match, Chris Jericho vs. Fandango in a WrestleMania 29 rematch, Randy Orton vs. Big Show in an Extreme Rules match, Kofi Kingston vs. Dean Ambrose in a singles match for the WWE United States Championship, Team Hell No vs. Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins of The Shield in a Tornado Tag Team match for the WWE Tag Team Championship, Alberto Del Rio vs. Jack Swagger in an I Quit match for the #1 contendership to the World Heavyweight Championship after Dolph Ziggler was taken out of the match with a concussion caused by Jack Swagger kicking him in the face. The concussion was bad enough that he forgot what happened on Monday Night Raw and most of that Tuesday. The original match was a triple threat ladder match for the World Heavyweight Championship. There is also John Cena vs. Ryback in a last man standing match for the WWE Championship. The main event is rumored to be Triple H and Brock Lesnar in a steel cage match that should be the end of their year-long feud. The pre-show starts at 7:30 p.m. The Extreme Rules pay-per-view will start at 8 p.m. The post-show will begin at 11 p.m., all times Eastern. The pre-show and the post-show will be aired on WWE's website, YouTube.com, Twitter, Facebook, Xbox 360, and the official WWE app. WWE.com has more information. This ends the very first episode of the Grappling Gameplan. Like, subscribe, and comment. I'd love to hear any thoughts on this week's news as well as any ideas on improvements to the show. This is Christopher Box Jr. signing off. Until next week.